we're out of here, and it's still not good enough. You know, they want everything. I can't force anything. Unfortunately, I think that's the end game, because you keep hearing him say, when I say him, I'm talking about Gary Gensler, the runway's running shorter, the runway's shorter and shorter, they're running out of time.
In today's video, Attorney John Deaton discussed the latest with the SEC Ripple XRP lawsuit, the recent summary judgments from Ripple and the SEC, and what's next for the procedural process, likelihood of a settlement soon. Before listening to him, please ensure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
If it breaks the way we hope, then it's almost like with FTX and the way this market has been, and Celsius and Voyager and everything. It's like, you know, all you see is this cloud of dust from all the buildings collapsing, but then we, you know, coming out of it, maybe a good positive result in this case will lead us into, you know, not necessarily a bull market, but just more sensible regulation. I think everybody wants regulation. We just want smart regulation, right? And we want to end this regulation by enforcement and spending all of the effort of the government on non-fraud cases like the Ripple case, the library case, or any other case. And so hopefully this case will be the beginning of a new era where utility leads the way. To be honest with you, I was in a professional rut. And when I say professional rut, meaning, you know, I reached a certain level of success, and you're always fighting about money, and you're fighting defense attorneys about money, and just the whole system of it all. And I love my clients, but a lot of my clients unfortunately pass away, and then I'm dealing with the children, and you know, people are fighting about money, you know, after the person passes, and you know, and I was, to be honest with you, I was getting kind of disenfranchised. I lost some love, if you will, and passion for the law, and this kind of invigorated me, because I thought there'd be maybe a lot of people attacking me, like, why are you getting involved in this case? Just shut up and sit down and let the professionals do it. And it was just when everyone's support, and of course there's always somebody out there that says that kind of stuff, but overwhelmingly, like 99.9% of the people just felt like someone was speaking for them, and then that inspired me because they felt inspired. And it really invigorated me, to be honest with you. Kind of gave a love again for the law, and the fact that you can fight, you know what I mean? And even though it's hard, and even though you're sometimes putting your head against the brick wall, you just keep fighting for the people that matter, you know what I mean? And look, like I said, we have 76,000 XRP holders from 141 countries other than the United States. I mean, it's crazy. So we all play our part, you know what I mean? I appreciate those kind words, Jeremy, but he's underestimating how many people he comforted, right?
And the comedy.
And so just the comfort, because, you know, it's tough. And a lot of people have their life savings, or, you know, they're very invested in this, and they could have an iTrust account, and they could have 150 grand tied up, which is their life savings, and they don't know this litigation, and there's things like pro hoc vici and just this words that mean nothing to them, and they don't know if that's bad or good. And so, you know, when they can tune in and watch a video of someone who has been a professional teacher, so he has this gift of being able to convey complex things. You know, Jeremy, I know he's a fantastic trial lawyer, because that's what you do. You take complex issues and you make them in simple terms so that everyday people can understand them. And so I think that, as kind as he is to me, I may have maybe put in a few more hours here and there, but he comforted more people than I did. So we all play our part. Think of this, right? They won't come out. They conceded in the oral argument. They conceded that many library token holders, LBC token holders, do not view it as an investment, and they only utilize the token with the platform. You know, Naomi Brockwell collected a whole bunch of LBCs. She didn't even know they had a monetary value to them for a couple years. And so they concede that, but they won't issue a no action letter for users or secondary transactions. They won't concede anything, right? They just want in library, hey, we will burn the tokens, the pre-mined tokens. We're dissolving the entity. We're out of here, and it's still not good enough. You know, they want everything. I can't force anything. I'm not a party. The judge granted the motion. The SEC didn't object. The library, there may not be any future hearings or anything like that. And so if the judge has a hearing and allows amicus to participate, then I can obviously try to ask the judge to what I've done in the papers, which is just simply say, listen, you know, your decision is being cited as the token itself is a security, because that's what has been argued in Lewis Cohen's article that I put in as an exhibit, and that secondary market sales are implicated in a permanent injunction. If you don't distinguish secondary transactions from library transactions, then your opinion could be used in a way that you don't intend it to be. And so that's the only argument. And so all I can do is try to make that to the case and hope the judge is receptive of that. The SEC's opinion is going to be, look, secondary, Naomi Brockwell isn't charged, right? That's who I represent as amicus. And so she's not charged. And so it's not a case in controversy, Judge. You shouldn't rule on something that's not before you. And so it just comes down to whether or not he's willing to distinguish it. I'm hoping that what happened in Telegram, the judge gave a second opinion. He gave a clarification where he said, look, the gram itself is not a security. And then he made some other clarifications. And so we're just hoping for that, because we know how the SEC is going to use it. And so we're sort of at the mercy of the judge. I hope he's receptive to it. He's a very smart guy, and we'll see. I mean, the real exciting thing, I guess, that's left other than a decision, right? That's the most exciting thing that's going to happen in the case, is whether or not there will be the Hinman emails and the drafts, whether or not that will be redacted, because there obviously some of them are exhibits. They're referenced to in Ripple's reply, their final brief. And so whether or not we get to see them, that's probably going to be the most exciting thing before the verdict. 6 months ago, I said it would be by the end of the year, and technically it's true because of FTX, even though that's not how I envisioned it. I said that an exchange would be sued, and I think they went after Wowie, right? They first Ripple, Library, Dragon Chain. They get $100 million from BlockFi. And they go after Wowie, and they say these 9 tokens are securities, but they don't go after Coinbase, who's listing those 9 tokens. It's because they're building momentum for in my opinion, for the final one. And the final one may be a Binance. They seem to be the narratives being pushed against Binance right now, where an exchange, whether it's Coinbase, whether it's Binance US, whether it's a couple of them. Unfortunately, I think that's the end game, because you keep hearing him say, when I say him, I'm talking about Gary Gensler, the runway's running shorter, the runway's shorter and shorter, they're running out of time. But what did the BlockFi settlement accomplish? There's no registration that took place. There's no policy that was implemented. They got taxed $100 million. And so I think that's the end game. And that's why they won't agree to secondary market sales by users are not securities, because they want to control that secondary market through the exchange. You know, the House hearing was more substantive. There's no doubt about it. And so, you know, I don't want to get political, because I'm truly an independent. You know what I mean? I really am. I just usually vote the incumbent out, whether they're Republican or a Democrat. But it's a scary thought to think that had the House not flipped, and you had one party, and it's seems to be the anti-crypto party, to be completely in control, when the banking chairman is talking about banning crypto. I mean, first of all, you can't ban it. It's a worldwide global thing, but it's scary. But that's the point of what Jeremy and I and others on this show have been saying for 2 years of how important this Ripple case is, because we're not going to get legislation that passes the Senate and the House and signed by the president in the next 6 to 9 months. It's just not going to happen, you know. And so what you're going to get is de facto regulation vis-a-vis the Judge Torres's decision, you know, and who knows? But that's my position on it. I love my international XRP holders. Trust me, I love them. But some of them will say that who cares about the U.S.? And you need the U.S. market. You talk about financial markets in this world, you still need the United States. And so, you know, why is XRP still where it's at if the United States wasn't important? And so it can move on, but we have to, it's what's holding us back. If we got sensible regulation, then it's going to explode. I mean, I've said this before, as bad, Gary Gensler by far is the worst, but just imagine where we could be if Clayton would have implemented, when he had Elad Roisman and Hester Peirce, and if he'd have implemented a safe harbor, and if he'd implemented and said, you know, Ripple, you got 5 years to meet these markers, or 3 years, and you know, this project, whatever, here's the guidance. You meet this, you're a commodity. You don't meet this, we're gonna sue you, or you don't come in and register as a security. Just imagine where we could be. The Hinman speech was 2018. We're in 2023, and we're still nowhere near where we should be. It's really, really tragic.